Hi, my name is Philip. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Brew. And today I'm going to show you our most powerful feature, automations. Automations are triggered email flows that ensure that whenever an action is taken by a user, such as when they sign up, when they become a paid user, or any other action in your environment, they received a triggered email flow. It is very, very powerful for making sure that your users, your customers never go cold and that they receive appropriate emails at the appropriate time. I'm going to show you how to set it up today. Now, if you have not set up your brand yet, if you've not watched those videos, I highly encourage you to do so because that is a prerequisite for building really good and really powerful automations. But I'll assume in this video that you have already done that. To create an automation, I'll go into Brew and I'll click automations here on the left side. I'll then say new automation. And the first thing I'll define is the trigger. So what triggers this automation? And Brew has a bunch of options to trigger the automation. We have some integrations already with existing tools out there. So for example, we use both Clerk, Stripe, and Shopify. So I can click in here, I can see all the different triggers that are sent to me from Clerk, for example, and I can use one of those as the triggers. I can also provide a custom HTTP trigger. And finally, if I wanted to trigger an automation right now to a specific audience that I have in Brew, I can do so through a manual audience trigger. But in this case, I will show you a specific automation that we're going to build together. Let's build a automation for when someone has a failed payment. So I've created the trigger here, and now I'm going to ask Brew, please create an automation for when payment fails for a user. And what Brew is going to do now is it's going to take my design system, the way that I create emails, and it's going to create this automation for me. It might decide to create one email. It might also decide to create several emails. I'll show you exactly what it looks like when you have more than one email in Brew, because that's when it becomes really powerful. So there we go. Brew has now created the payment failure email for Brew. And in this case, it's only created one email because you don't want several emails necessarily when a payment fails. So I think that's good judgment from Brew there. And you can see inside the email, Brew has also retrieved the payload that it receives from Stripe in this case and used that in the email itself. So Stripe will send a failure message and explain why this payment failed. It will also have the payment intent ID. So in this case, Brew already knows from Stripe what is the payload, what is the data that is associated with this event, and it uses that intelligently in the email. And you know, I'm actually very happy with this email. I think I'm ready to set it live. So all I need to do now is click publish up here in the right hand corner. And as soon as I click publish, this email flow will now be live, meaning anyone in Brew who has a payment failure will receive this email. And so that took me a few minutes to set up. There are many events, many triggers that I will want to set up these custom flows for. And this is a very, very powerful way of doing it. This is also what's called lifecycle marketing, making sure that your customers, your users receive good looking, appropriate emails that informs them of what steps to take to use your product in the best way possible. Before we round off here, I want to show you what a very powerful automation that we've built at Brew. So this is how Brew uses Brew, what that looks like. So what you will see here is our welcome flow. If you've signed up for Brew, you have probably already received some of these emails, and this is basically how we built them. So the trigger is Clerk, which we use for authentication. It triggers every time a user is created. You can see here, if I click on the trigger, I could actually edit the fields, or I could change the trigger. And what we then have is between each email, there is a note That node is in this case a wait node, which defines how long time I want to wait before the next email is triggered. And the way that we have set up the email flow for welcoming new users is in the first 7 days, we send emails informing new users about how to best use Brew. And then after that, we have periodical check-ins where we ask users if they want to book some time with the founders, and also if there's any other ways that we can help them. In this automation itself, whenever you create a new node, you have a few different options. So there's an email node, which sends an email. There's a wait node, which waits between different steps. There's a filter node if you only want certain people, for example, only people who haven't clicked something in the last email, or people who have not become paid users since the last email was sent out. You can use a filter to achieve that and only filter the people through that you want to have received the next email in the flow. And then you can also do a split if you want different paths. This is very powerful for A/B testing, for example. Now, the final thing I'll say is when an automation is live, like our welcome flow here, if I wanted to pause it or unpublish it, I simply click on the 3 dots up here in the right-hand corner, and then I can unpublish the automation. I can pause it. I could also delete it if I wanted to, but I have to be careful with that. That's very helpful if I want to make any edits to the automation. Talking about edits, the really, really nice thing about editing these automations is that you can edit the emails directly in the automation. Emails live on the emails canvas here, and so any edits that you make to the automation emails will also be reflected on the emails canvas. That was all for today. Automations is the most powerful feature that we have in Brew. It is the way that you make sure that no customers ever go cold, and that you serve them with appropriate, respectful, and informative emails at the right time to help them use your product best. If you have any questions or if you need help setting up your automations, don't hesitate to reach out. We're always happy to help you. Thank you.